Alrighty, so I want to talk about the week 5 code along because I spent some time going through it and rewriting some of the way you're going to approach the work. Hopefully, organizing it a little differently to help you because these topics you're about to go through are just so important to your skill building and being able to translate the code alongs with your notes to skill to use in your projects, right? So the stuff you're learning here, and let's just actually go into this item so we can see it, is going to be due the week after spring break. If you noticed, I'm recording this right before heading out to spring break. And as I was looking through it, and just to show you that the chapters are 6 to 12, which means 6 chapters. And as I was reworking the instructions, I realized that I wanted to give you guys a little more time during this really important and the amount of chapters that we're doing. And we're going to have one more of these, like covering quite a few chapters, and the importance of having this now so that you can translate it into your projects. Okay, so here's what happened. So this item, and this is why I should have kept the calendar up. This item, after spring break, right? Your Monday, I did the attendance yesterday. And then remember, the attendance is going to go over your first phase of the project, which will be the week after. So we get back on the 21st. So that following week after we return, that Thursday night will be for that phase one. And the importance here is, if possible, submitting it early so you can get review. So on this one, I'm going to give you 3 possible breaks. So I'll come back and look at this. But so in this case, by that Monday night, you can complete 6, 7, and 8, and then submit your commit history. And I have the breaks offered, but I just want to say this here. You have to show me you got it done up to this point. And you then get a chance to do 9 and 10 by Thursday night. And then I give you over that following weekend to complete 11 and 12. So if we're looking at the calendar, right? So your first 6, 7, and 8, right? 9 and 10, and then the following, the 28th. Here's the deal though. Now these items aren't due until that night, really, when I wake up the next morning. But if you find you're going to need that much time, just know that we do have another one coming up with 6 that I actually need to start working on over break. As a matter of fact, good reminder right now, that's going to be 13 through 17. Now, the good news about that is it's not as many chapters. And through 17, I believe, is the last. No, 18 and 19. Okay. Now these two are going anyway, let me not diverge yet, okay? All right, so I'm just kind of giving you the where we're heading concept because all of this code along is really intended for you to learn and translate into the project. Okay. So coming over here for this first, and really just in a general overview of this code along, is in the instruction file. So you're going to create that folder, create that basic HTML. And in this case, it's fine. I noticed last week I had said main, and I kind of go back between main, CSS, and style, but I think the style is fine. But create a folder, that's fine to do here, right? And then copy over your README file from W4 into here. And you don't have to copy anything else. I think everything else you can just start. And Dave will give you the instruction for every chapter to how to set it up. And sometimes he'll have you go to his GitHub site and grab some content. But here you add a heading, and when I say this means a heading 1, okay, these are like heading 1s. And in this case, this is just part of Markdown, and then you do a commit. Now, I'm not going to go through all this because it's just quite a bit of content, but I'm just giving you the general setup. So for every chapter, you set up the HTML and CSS as instructed by Dave, and then you do a commit. And so here I've organized this to talk, so it helps you kind of think about, what is, what are these terms, right? What does this mean, right? These texts, this typography, this inheritance, right? What does rims means to set, right? And how do they work, right? So I'm just trying to highlight, like when you're coding along, there are the things you're going to learn. At the same time, you're going to be taking notes in your README file, okay? And then in your notes, I want to make sure you cover these topics. Now, what I look for here is really your understanding of this. Because when you write your understanding, it tends to help you solidify that understanding. Okay? Now, I say also use a heading too, right? You can create the heading based on you can also create the heading based on the commit message, might be helpful, or that section as well. And notice how those kind of align, not completely. All right, so then you commit that, right? So now we come into the next one, declaration. So this style though is all the way through the way that I've set it up. So here are the things you're going to do in the code along, take notes, right? And then when you're at this point, then do your commit before you move into fonts and Google Fonts. Really good to understand how to import fonts, the different ways to import fonts, so important. Okay, so then chapter 7. All right, again, I'm not going to go through all this in detail, but after chapter 8, then you will see that first break. Okay, your optional one, complete it by Thursday. Now, in this case, like before, if you're using the Thursday night because you missed the Monday night, it's only a 10% penalty. Now, this will also hold true though for the following Monday night, but that will be only if you've met one of these due dates. So if you're completing everything by the following Monday, it's actually going to be 20 points, or your normal 25% points off. Now, this mini project is so cool, and for me, when I was building this one out, and I actually say this in here, is for my output, I copied the ending code into a folder outside, somewhere else, not in the repo, for me, because I just wanted to have that as a standalone example, especially right the way where he's creating the menu navigation. And you don't have to do this, but that was how I handled it because it was helpful. Okay, so that's the pattern that you will see all the way through. Learning how to convert, list into horizontal navigation. So as again, there's your last break, right? I'm actually going to modify this to be consistent with what I just said. And then you'll have 11 and 12. Now, this is how I grade. Were all commits done correctly and associated valid HTML and CSS? I actually had for myself now, I didn't do this for 4 because I ran out of time, but for this one I will have better commits I can compare it to. So make sure you get those done and make sure you have all the notes in there. And then give me your commit history for your W5. Remember, you're going to end up submitting this several times if you use some of these breaks. Now, just to be clear, I'm also not saying here that you have to be working over break. I'm just giving you, right, this before break, so in case anybody feels like they want to spend a little more time. My next task will actually be to work on the review and then circle back around to week 6 because I want to have as much content as I can get done. But again, I'm going to repeat what I said on attendance, right? I'm going to be working the first part of the spring break, but then traveling the second part. Reach out for help. Probably to Discord. If you need it, that's probably a good place over break. All right. Hope this helps you understand how to navigate this way important section as we move into really, such important skill base acquisition for this course. Have a good one. See you later.